staff for the next 30 days in memory of Officer Richard Mendez, a 22-year veteran of the 4th.
Greetings. Is anybody up? If not, maybe you'll pay attention to this later. I'm on my way home from work. And I don't really have anything in particular to talk about. So why am I doing a live stream, right? Well, because T at one point said in 1974 or 5 or 6, I think it was 74 actually. It's in the book UFO Missionaries Extraordinary, where I believe she said that all the events in the book of Revelation were going to happen. I'm not saying that's the exact words, but that's certainly the idea. Hello, MW1 Online. So, yet, believe it or not, I'm not a doomsdayer. I knew that this was going to happen, and it doesn't change what I'm going to do in my life. Maybe it would be better if it did. You know, change things that I would do in my life. But, I mean, T and O were not doomsdayers. They were not survivalists. They were not, they were not trying to be prophets. They were not trying to be gurus, teachers, reverends, priests. They weren't trying to be anything human. And that is so clear. But yet they were not being anything space alien either. They were from out of this world, beyond the space aliens. So far beyond the space aliens that it's like the difference between humans and dogs. To where a human in that analogy would be considered to be a member of the next level, and a dog would be considered to be a human. And the space aliens are equivalent to the dogs. Yet their souls have the leftover remnant of some of what they learned when they were allowed to be in the company of the next level members for a period of time. Those space aliens, they don't know how to build spacecrafts that can take them to Pluto or any place else. And last, indefinitely, and defy gravity and travel at huge speeds without killing everybody inside because of the G-forces. Space aliens don't know how to do that because they were early graduates from a pre-civilization classroom of some type where the standards weren't quite as high to become a member of the next level at a student capacity, at an elementary capacity, doing elementary tasks to the next level, things that they could do that the next level knew they couldn't screw it up by doing things their own way. And that even if they did something against the next level, which they did, the next level knew that they could make a positive out of it. And that's what they did, with the current civilization, made a positive out of the space aliens' desire to do things their own way and not look to their older members who were their masters, but they failed to actually learn that on their own because they hadn't conquered their ego, their desire to be something special. I mean, something special outside of their older members. See, the older members don't need any believers. They don't need any new members. They don't need anything from humans. It would be like saying that we need things from the dog kingdom or the animal kingdom or the horses that are some of the most advanced animals. Well, there might be others too, but those are the ones that became domesticated for a reason, because they are the closest to becoming a beginning human. And so there are some humans now that are the closest among humans to becoming a beginner member of the next level. That didn't change by their leaving. It didn't change after T left. That's a bunch of baloney. Yes, things changed after T left, but they changed in the direction that T had been helping Doe with from 1973. That Doe knew that T was his older member because he learned it. T didn't tell him that I am your older member. I am essentially your Heavenly Father. I am essentially your God. She didn't say things like that because she didn't have an ego. She didn't need to impress anybody. All these humans that you see trying to be the big leaders, whether it's politics or the religions, the Pope, the other leaders of the imams, the swamis, the yogis, the rabbis, all of them. They're not anything special to the next level. I'm not putting them down to say that, but it's a matter of being in the 6th grade, at best, in a 12th grade school. They're not ready to graduate. They're not trying to get rid of all the things that they accumulated in their lives, their popularity and the way that people look up to them, and and look up to them for their spiritual growth and for what they call their spiritual growth, and in other ways, like if they're politicians, then look up to them for their so-called intelligence or influence or their wanting to serve the country. They don't want to serve the country. Oh, sure they do. It's a theory. It's an idea. But they're not really serving. They're serving themselves. I mean, there's a few that are probably less serving themselves, but they don't even know that how much of puppets they are to the space aliens and to all the discarnates that gravitated to them. The other day, Kathy and I were doing deliveries, food deliveries, pickup and deliveries, and one of the things that we did was we went to we go wherever the place, the restaurant is that is supplying the food that we're going to deliver to somebody and get paid for. And so we went to a bar, and there were a lot of people around. It wasn't Friday night, that's tonight, but there were a lot of people around and in the bar and stuff. And Kat was driving, and I was going in and out of the restaurants, or in this case, the bar, and Kathy stayed in the car. And so I was in there for a few minutes, waiting for my order, because I had to wait for, when you in the kitchens and the bars, sometimes they're pretty slow. And it could be a lot of people actually trying to get food. And at the same time, they're playing music, and there's people there socializing and drinking and everything. And so when I came out to the car to tell Kathy it was going to be a few minutes, she said, yeah, she could feel, the influence of that the people there want to drink. And she could feel that influence, like making it feel like, wow, that would be a fun thing to do. She didn't say that, but she was feeling the influence of all the people that were drinking. And what I said to her, which she completely recognized was 100% the truth, was that there's probably thousands of influences, discarnate spirits, hanging around all those people that are drinking and having a good time, listening to music, dancing, and blah, 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 trying to get people to do that because they are actually getting a buzz from that, the same way humans get a buzz from drinking and socializing and enjoying or drugging or partying or all the emotions, sexing, and everything has its potential buzz. And everything draws everything of the human kingdom, or giving a speech, in front of a bunch of people, or being the manager of a restaurant, or being the CEO of ExxonMobil, or any of the corporations, or any of the other administrative positions, where you get to tell other people how to do things. You get to hire and fire people. You get to give people bonuses. You're in the stock market, whatever you're doing to get your bonuses, and you're, all those people have many helpers in the unseen world. They're invisible to us, but they exist. They are real. They are like a plasma kind of consistency that we can't see unless the next level allows us to see them, or the space aliens pull some kind of a trick and make it so that you can see them, or maybe there's other ways that can happen. Okay, I don't know what all the ways that can happen. I mean, I know humans can measure frequencies, and there's been some people that, claim that they had influences in the room with them, and I saw influences in my room many years ago. Well, maybe 10 years ago. And they looked like kind of like stick figures, with dimension to them. So the head was, I don't know, the way I kind of see it was like, it's like a partial head, and it was almost like it wasn't really round, like it was hexagram or something like that, and I couldn't really tell what its body was made out of, because it kind of looked like, just shimmering light, but with kind of a stick figure kind of appearance. And they were doing things. They were sitting on the top of my credenza, one time one of them was, and they were laughing, and I think they were laughing at me sometimes, and that happened to me maybe 3 or 4 times during a brief 2-month period, or 2 or 3 months period. Maybe it was longer than that, when I saw other things as well. And that wasn't a dream. Those things weren't a dream, because I was wide awake and I was looking and I was thinking, am I seeing that? Is that really happening? And it seemed like, yes, it was. It felt like it was really happening. Was I stoned? Well, maybe. Maybe I was coming off of a little bit of marijuana usage, because I used it, I would have my 1 or 2 hits of weed. But then it was late at night after that it had worn off, and then there were other times where I had experiences also, which I wrote about in detail in the book that I started to write. That's called Sawyer's Story, on WordPress, on SawyerHG.wordpress.com. Anybody that wants to read it, look up Sawyer's Story in WordPress. And anyway, so I mean, that happened to me many years after I had left the classroom. I never had any experiences like that in the classroom. I never saw anything, but it made sense to me when Tiendo said that we were surrounded by discarnates, and they even gravitated to people to be helpers to them, even to help them walk, and to even help the president deliver a good speech, and be able to be presidential in their behavior, unless you become like Biden or Trump, which both basically defy the image of a president as being sophisticated and intelligent, and Biden has been losing his mind for a long time. But apparently, he didn't lose it so much that he couldn't do the job enough to where, they poke fun of him. But look at George W. Bush, all the fun they poked at him. And he was kind of he was always saying something to put his foot in his mouth, and so they didn't want him to talk much. Because these individuals are also, they're being used as puppets by the lower forces. Anybody that has a lot of influence over people is being used by the lower forces. I don't know where the lines are drawn on how much influence. That's not for me to know about. But it doesn't matter. But you can be very sure that the presidents, whatever party they're from, whatever, is being influenced by a space alien race. One or more of those individuals that were called in the record books the fallen angels. So they're pulling the strings on things, and they like wars, and they war against each other also, because they're in control of different countries, and for the most part, and it doesn't mean they control every aspect of what's happening in that country. The humans have their free will. They don't have to, but the things that they want humans to do make sense to the humans. Like, in other words, if we can, put an additional $1 billion into helping Israel, whether they actually get $1 billion or not, but we can tell the American people that we're going to send them $1 billion, and and so we end up doing that, through our, getting it passed in Congress and the Senate. And then the people all say, oh, look at how they're supporting Israel. At the same time, they're also supporting Iran, which supposedly supports Hezbollah, and they're supporting both sides. Also, there's Qatar, and there's Saudi Arabia, and Lebanon, and Syria, and the Arab Emirates, and Yemen, and all these countries are all in bed for themselves. And they all work together in degrees as long as they can keep their own profits going and stay in power, not get overthrown by somebody else. And so they'll make deals with anybody. There's no, with all the leaders of those countries, there's very little, if any, loyalty to some kind of God. That God is a space alien God a lot of the times. They don't know it because they're calling it by whatever name they use in their religion. Like Christians are doing, like Jews are doing, like Muslims are doing, like Hindus are doing, like Buddhists are doing. To where, some of the experiments at the next level allowed to happen, was like the Buddhist experiment, or allowed to happen or stimulated to happen as a different type of experiment than the Judeo-Christian Islamic progression of religiosity. But in that one, it became the mutation of it, the distortion of it, the dilution of the teachings of that first Gautama Buddha, if I'm saying it right, I'm not sure, but where he was, breaking away from his humanness, and he was, wanted to give his all his mind, all his love, all his heart, all his emotions to his idea of God. And the Buddha was asked about God. I don't know what the terminology was, because that terminology is, from the translations of the Hebrew to English, and from Aramaic to English, and from Greek and Latin to English. That word, but I mean, that same idea of there being a creator or a higher source, or a cosmic consciousness, or a universal mind, those ideas are real. Because there is a cosmic consciousness. It's the next level consciousness. That's the only cosmic consciousness that exists. But what the lower forces do, those space aliens and the discarnates and the humans that are hosting them, they make it into something that's not real, that's nebulous, that's etheric, that doesn't have physical structure to it, that isn't made up of people, individuals, minds that are individualistic, even though they don't want to be anymore. But they became individuals for the first time when they graduated out of the human kingdom, and they stayed there and didn't go awry and leave like the ones that were called the fallen angels did. Because like Tiendo said all along, that even members of the next level have the choice to leave if they want to. They can go against their older members. And it's even easier for it to happen if you haven't fully conquered the characteristics of the human kingdom that include a quest to be something special, to be powerful, to be looked up to. Because members of the next level don't want to be looked up to. They want to look up to their older member. They want to do that. It's not something that they're brainwashed into. They want to because they recognize it. It's like falling in love with a great rock star, okay, or some kind of music star, or some kind of artist. You know, the way young people a lot of times fall in love with different artists, right? And they wear their shirts and they go to their concerts and they ooh and ah about it. My vehicle's mother was oohing and ahhing about Frank Sinatra in her day. And she would skip school to go to Frank Sinatra, and she would cry and people would faint, you know, and at Beatle concerts they would faint. And they'd do anything to be with that person if they were, you know, of a mind to, you know, to try to, you know, have sex with them or something, you know, so they could say it. And they were in love, you know, in lust with, but it's all about themselves, what they were getting from it. By being enamored with somebody else to the degree that you would do anything for them, maybe. Which you can see with some of the cults are like that. But see, those are all the upside down ways that humans are willing to give themselves to the military, to the presidents, you know, to fight and kill for them. You know, and it's like the next level's the opposite of that. We have to prove to the next level, all the members, that we don't want to do anything for ourselves. Because otherwise they don't want us. Why would they want us? Are we going to fix all their things are we going to make the planet fix it from all the pollution and stuff? Are any humans going to do that? They can do some of that, and they don't do it because it's not profitable enough. But they give the impression that they're going to do it so that they can raise money and then use that money for whatever their projects are. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing with these wars. A war is an excuse to make more money. Now, I'm not going to continue this live stream after I get home in about 10 minutes because it's really late and I just want to settle in with Kathy and rest because I got to work tomorrow too. I guess Kathy and I are both going to work tomorrow together, which is, you know, it's I like it better. But she had a lot of things she was doing today, and I'm really glad she got to do it, those things. And so it's working really well the way that it's happening. You know, nothing is ever exactly, I mean, if we want to keep everything the same, then we're not going to be moving in the direction that the next level might have us move. And I think Kathy and I both individually asked to the next level for help. Because we don't do it together, because that's not the way of the next level, to have group prayer. I mean, we have a type of, it's not group prayer, but when we both want to do things for the next level, for our older members to know, that's a prayer. You know, to put it in some kind of format and to close our eyes or something and say it out loud, the way that Sarah did in the meeting that we had with Sarah and Mark, was like To me, that was like an abomination to do that. That was like poking fun at everything TNO taught, because they never had us do that. Never once. So how she slipped into that was because there's some influence. We all have them. Nobody's without them, so I'm not putting her down. I'm just saying that's the case. That influences people to do things, and they don't even necessarily know that the things that they're doing can be totally against the teachings of the next level. And I'm not just talking about, behavior. In fact, I'm not diminishing behavior, but the worst thing to do is to lead people astray and not know you're doing it. That's like, if you get into that condition, I don't know if you can get out of it very easily, because you already think that you're serving. I should be coming up on my exit pretty quickly here now. I've had to drive kind of slow if Kathy happens to be listening. Because it's raining pretty hard. But I think this is my exit. It is. It's my exit. I didn't miss it. So yes, all the events that were depicted in the book of Revelation will be coming to pass. Now, I don't know exactly how they're going to come to pass, what they're going to look like to us. That was something that T said early on. I don't know if Doe didn't really say that same thing in his Beyond Human series, but he did talk about this Armageddon war, the war for souls, and the way that the war for souls works is that people get convinced that they're working for God, or they're working for the good of humanity, or they're helping another country in a war, and that it's good to do that, and yet it's the furthest thing from what the next level would have them do. And so they're basically giving their souls to the lower forces. I'm still not their judge individually. I don't know if they're doing the best they can under the circumstances. I don't know to what degree, any of them have some next level guidance as well. But it's got, the guidance that I don't think the leaders of the countries that send people to war, I don't think they have any next level mind. I think they're purely being run by space aliens, not necessarily right away, right now, just by the programs of thinking that they're doing the right thing, by being a congressperson or a senator. They can help their community. And sometimes they do. They do. Sometimes. But probably kind of rarely. They'll help the community of people that have the most wealth. What the lobbyists are asking for. That's who they're really helping. Everybody else is kind of like cannon fodder for them. And slaves. They just want to get your vote so that they can appear to be legitimate. And now even that seems to be out the window. To where you can't imagine there'd be a legitimate vote now, because no matter what happens, even if it was totally legitimate, nobody pulls any shenanigans in any of the states, the other party is going to challenge it. And all the people that believe in their own party is going to, they're going to be more and more angry. And maybe we'll see more riots in the streets and more school shootings, and because that anger doesn't just translate in one particular way. It translates in all the ways that people have a program. Oh, there's a deer, little baby one, maybe 1 year old. Whatever they're programmed genetically and environmentally, what they experienced from birth of their vehicles, and how much next level mind they have. Because everybody potentially can have a little bit of it, but it becomes like such a subtle voice, that even a little bit, it's not going to actually determine what somebody does with their actions, because the voice has become so subtle. And they've accepted certain programs and certain ways of thinking. Let's see, am I going down the right way? I think I am. Yeah, so I hope this live stream can be of value to somebody. Oh, I see. I went around the wrong side. I'll just go around because I'm where I need to be. So, well, I'm going slow. Now, there's someone back here again talking crap. These people that are so full of themselves that they gotta talk crap about Kathy and other people and me, and they're just like so weak. You're so weak-minded. I'm not gonna stop doing these live streams. Tough on you. Where the hell is... Anyway, I'm sorry about that, Kathy, that if you hear me now, that this still goes on. What a bunch of jerks. And I went down the wrong road. I know it's not the outside one. Oh, I know what I did. I was looking on the wrong side. Silly me. I went down the right road, but I looked down the wrong side. Right, the road is right here. And I came in there. And that's where I'm parking, in the front. Which I have to kind of do a wide turn to park in. There I am. So, if anybody has something valuable to say, useful to say, I'm going to block you. Anybody that said anything now, I don't even know if I'm going to use the 3-strike rule. that people think about. Just if it's something negative, I don't care about it. I'm just going to block you. And if you come in and do it with a different name, I'll block you again. I'll block you every time. Because you're worthless. And you're probably like a Christian who thinks you're all full of your Jesus when you don't even know who Jesus is. Because you have this illusion of Jesus. So if anybody has anything that they wanted to say in these comments, I'm ending the stream. Yeah, let him talk about me. I don't care if he's talking about me. But anyway, I'm ending the stream so that I can, and then I'll go back and I'll block that person if I can, or maybe I have to do it while the stream is active. So maybe I'll keep it in. Maybe I'll keep it in going for right now so I can block them properly. Okay. I'm about to get rained on, but okay, I gotta pack up because it's raining. I gotta cover everything. Oh, that's right. That's who that was. That guy who would say all these nasty things and then he would apologize. And then he would come back and say nasty things and then apologize. Playing a game. Playing a stupid game. So bye-bye. Bye-bye, little man. Or little woman, or whatever you are. Or they. Hi. So, you know how to block on this.
Well, I thought I knew how to, but I know how to do it from the comments, so is it okay if I just end the stream?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not.